A year later, and the effects from Hurricane Helene are still being felt in communities from Florida to North Carolina. This storm brought unprecedented flooding to Tennessee, as well to the Tennessee Valley, as well as the Appalachian Mountains, leaving hundreds without homes and many with nowhere to go. It's important to reflect on the tragic effects of this storm, and we also want to highlight the resilience of North Carolina as the recovery process, well, it continues. We bring in Dr. Kimberly Dechant. She is the Chief of Staff for Asheville City Schools, and she's rejoining us this afternoon after nearly a year. Doctor, I want to thank you for joining us back here on Fox Weather to tell us how things have been progressing for you guys in this process. The school year, it just began almost a month ago. How was it this year? How was it different from last year, given the storm?
It's been very different this year. Our kids are so thankful to be back in school. And as you mentioned, we are still in the recovery process. Asheville and Western North Carolina depend on tourism to generate tax dollars. And tax dollars are what the county commissioners use to help fund our schools. And because of the decrease in tax revenue from tourism, the county commissioners weren't able to fully fund our school budget request. So Governor Stein has done an outstanding job of going out and just not only in the state, but promoting it nationally, that Western North Carolina is back open and ready for business and tourism. While we do have businesses that are still impacted by this, we still have teachers and students who are still trying to recover with damage to their homes. We are fortunate that we do have infrastructure back in place, and that's very different from a year ago after the hurricane. Our school buses were limited on the routes they could travel to get kids to and from school. We were without drinkable water for 53 days, so our cafeteria was limited on what they could cook and provide to our students. So we're finally getting back to a normal school year, which is very refreshing, and we're excited about what the year holds.
I'm so glad that you guys are going into this with hopeful minds and hopeful hearts. I was there in Asheville last year during the height of, the aftermath, and I can only imagine how beautiful it is and how tourism is trying to get back on track. It's such a beautiful area. When we last spoke to you, the future, it still remained a bit uncertain. You talked about how it was hard for school buses to maneuver around the community. How long were schools closed, and what did that reopening process look like for you guys? Was it remote? Was it something that you guys had to do for the first time ever?
So our schools were closed for approximately the whole month of October. And then when we came back, our kids were having to utilize bottled water, and that came with its challenges. And thankfully, at that time, we had an outpour from across the country of individuals, nonprofits, businesses, individuals who donated water, which helped offset some of the costs that we had to spend on that. We also, our Asheville City Schools Foundation was extremely instrumental in providing financial support to teachers who had lost their homes, who had been impacted by trees falling on their houses and sometimes even their cars. And so they were able to distribute funds to teachers who needed to rebuild after the storm. We were also able to provide clothes and food because we were also without electricity for several weeks. So our schools became community hubs as a way to get resources out into not only to our students, families, and staff, but also just out into the general community. I mean, we were kind of our schools served as community bases for everybody in Asheville.
Absolutely. That resilience still, bleeds throughout the community. And it's something that I saw personally there. It's something that you're still seeing nearly a year later. I know that the physical cost of Helene was disastrous, especially for North Carolina. But there is still this unseen cost, that mental and emotional toll to consider. Are there any resources that the school has done to kind of help children who may be still struggling with that, given that we're approaching a year this week?
Yes, our student services department has done an outstanding job of securing outside agencies to provide mental health support to our students. and not only to students, but to staff as well. We have an employee assistance network that our staff can utilize for free. We have several community partners in the mental health areas that come in and support our students. Our counselors do an outstanding job of meeting with our students when needs come up. And we know that this week, we've already been in conversations, it's going to be a little traumatic for our staff and students. Like, it's very much on the forefront that the year anniversary is coming up on September the 27th. And it's something that we are very aware of as a district and have tried to be extremely sensitive to.
It's very beautiful that you guys are taking those steps for the children, for the staff, for the community as a whole. Now, I know the worst may be past us now, but there is still so much that needs to be done. What are some of the bigger challenges that you and your community are still faced with to try to get back to a full sense of normalcy?
So to get back to a full sense of normalcy, I think, it's again, like while we're, open for business and ready for tourism in Asheville to increase that tax base revenue, it's still, getting money into Western North Carolina from the state and federal level to help with rebuilding and, with infrastructure and bridges. I mean, we still have, bridges that need to be repaired. Surrounding small communities still need money to repair dams and water systems. And so, we're really kind of like leaning in on the General Assembly to pass a state budget. We still don't have a state budget passed. And, that is so key in getting funding to our community and getting funding to our school district so that we can recover and provide our students with the resources that they need on a day-to-day basis.
I wish you guys all the best. I know this week is going to be a bit touchy for you guys, so definitely Fox Weather has your community in mind. Dr. Kimberly Dechant, we want to thank you again for joining us here on Fox Weather.
Thank you. And I mentioned earlier that, the Asheville City Schools Foundation is still taking hurricane relief donations. And again, we're using that money to support our students and staff. And I can't thank Fox Weather enough for not forgetting about us. I appreciate y'all honoring your word.
Absolutely. We look forward to talking to you throughout this process. That's exactly what we do here at Fox Weather, staying with you through the beginning of the storm, the height of the storm, and after the storm as well. So we thank you again for joining us. We wish you guys all the best this week.